You cannot, because we need to have it investigated.
But who's the caretaker of this?
IEBC.
So you just a minute. IEBC can only caretake to the extent of information task. So if I go to that IEBC right now, I write a letter to them and say, transfer my vote from this to that polling station, IEBC will act on it. The question then is, for this vote to have been transferred, what happened? I can tell you, I know 2 or 3 people who actually found themselves transferred without their knowledge. On some investigation, it was found that some agents in an M-Pesa had originated it and actually caused the transfer. Now, it could have been with some foul play or some, at that level. But then you cannot say that IEBC is culpable. What we are saying is that Kenyans are who we are. We are not, we have not arrived from anywhere. All these things we are talking about is being done by us or being done by some of us, being done
so
around.
Are you saying that there could be external factors that sort of precipitated this situation?
Absolutely. There's no way a transfer can be done in an IEBC portal without a trigger. So the question is, what was that trigger?
Vincent?
No, I think mine is just a clarification, which I can be able to point out. There is a Public Procurement and a Disposal Act that provides clearly how that governs public procurement. So before Parliament comes in, if you have an issue about the procurement of the what we call the KIMS kit, then you can be able to appeal to the Public Procurement and Appeals Board, and then the review, and then you go to appeal, then you can go to court. I think the information I have, or what's available in public knowledge, is that that procurement process has not been subject to contestation. What we have is a perception issue regarding what my friend and like Dennis has pointed out, that perception of the company that got the job has, based on what it has done in other jurisdictions. What perception? I'm saying
of an accurate sitting that was done and ruled.
No, but I'm pointing out that, you see, because
it cannot be perception.
No, because I'll tell you this, Dennis. Since I gave you the room to point out your issue, I request you give me the space. Zainab, I'm seeking protection. No, I was just pointing out that it is good to ensure that the due process are thoroughly utilized, so that if because we have institutions that have been put in place to be able to clearly outline if there are problems around issues or not. Since they have not been able to do their part, it's only fair for us to be able that it is important. Then where Parliament comes in is when they now do the oversight questions. For example, through the Parliamentary Public Accounts and Public Investments Committee, or even the relevant committee like JLAC, just raising questions for the purposes of accountability and this information coming out. What I'm just pointing out, Zainab, is that there is any communication issue that the IEBC is not giving it the attention it deserves. If I would be able to have audience with them, I'll be able to tell, guys, style up, or actually this is going to affect you. Because the challenge is, I'll tell you, Zainab, the truth of the matter is that the political weight that certain candidates have in this country, once they say certain things, at times that shapes opinion. Right. And remember, there are two things, Zainab. There are contestants in an election, and there is the one who conducts the election. IEBC conducts elections. The candidates and the politicians contest in that election. So you cannot take the role of the referee and also the role of the player at the same time. Right. It's good to make a choice.
All right, Zainab, just hold on to that thought, Dennis. Just a quick look at the current situation there at the Bomas of Kenya. Of course, the Azimio One Kenya presidential aspirant Raila Odinga, as well as his running mate, have just arrived and have entered the Bomas Auditorium. At this point, it is just 12 minutes past 10 a.m. You can see the supporters all seated there waiting for that registration exercise set to commence any moment from now. And the IEBC chairperson is also the presidential. Okay, a bit of chaos there, as can see Peter Kenneth outside the auditorium hoping to get inside. A lot of people who are accompanying the presidential aspirant outside the Bomas of Kenya, hoping to get inside and be witness to this particular ceremony or event at the Bomas of Kenya. And just a quick run through on the requirements, of course, needed by the presidential aspirant, and this cuts across most of them. An educational qualification certificates, and let me just get the proper requirement that was posted by IEBC, and of course this is with regards to the law as is needed by the IEBC for all the presidential aspirants who wish to contest for this election. The qualification, of course, the requirements that the candidate must submit, the documentation that the presidential aspirant Raila Odinga is bringing today to the commission are certified copies of educational qualification certificates. This includes a degree certificate, which is in accordance with Section 22 of the Elections Act 2011, and a copy of the national identity card or a valid passport. The document used by the candidate to register as a voter will be the ID card or a passport-sized photograph with a white background, which is expected to be submitted in both hard and soft copies. And if a party, if a candidate is sponsored by a party, a nomination certificate from that registered political party duly signed by the nominating the candidate, duly dated and signed by the authorized official of that party, a duly signed and dated code of conduct. This is in the second schedule of the Elections Act 2011, and also a duly filled commission nomination form, which includes an original statutory declaration form for the purposes of nomination. That is the Regulation 18, Section 3, Elections General Regulations 2012, and an original self-declaration form. Also for political party candidates and independent candidates as well, an electronic version and duly filed list of at least 2,000 supporters from each of majority of the counties in the prescribed form. In this instance, 24 counties submitted to the commission, accompanied by, which is also very important, copies of the identity cards of the supporters. This was not happening before, and nomination fees in the amount of 200,000 shillings for the candidates, payable by a banker's check to the IEBC. And of course, just a quick run through of also the independent candidates. Remember, the other there's one more independent candidate who also expected to appear today to the IEBC. A clearance certificate from the Registrar of Political Parties, an electronic version and duly filed list of at least 2,000 supporters of each of the majority of the counties in that prescribed form, accompanied by copies of the identity cards of the supporters, a filed form of intention to contest prescribed by the commission, a symbol of the candidate actually intends to use during the election, which has been approved by the commission about 21 days before the nomination day, and also establish and maintain a functioning office in the respective electoral area where the candidate is contesting, which is of course must be available for inspection by the commission at least 45 days before the election. There you have it. We can see the Wiper leader there, Kalonzo Musyoka, who's also made his way at the Bomas of Kenya, arriving in just a short while, moments later, after the Azimio One Kenya presidential aspirant and his running mate, that is Raila Odinga, as well as Martha Karua, have arrived at the Bomas of Kenya. Is also flanked by a couple of supporters and Wiper leaders there. And remember, the Wiper leader had made a huge turnaround back to the Azimio One Kenya coalition. We'll be speaking much more on that, and of course, if his turnaround in favor of Raila Odinga will turn, I will turn the votes in the Ukambani region, quite a crucial voting block in this election, whether that will be turned in favor of Raila Odinga in this election. Dennis, as you were speaking, of course, maybe you can continue with your thoughts.
Yeah, what I wanted to say is that this issue of KM's procurement is not perception, as my colleague says. This is a matter that was before the High Court Judge, Jairus Ngaah. And the Public Procurement Administrative Review Board was directed in September 20th, because there was a sudden turn in terms of who they had procured and who they've procured.